We're coming live from the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason to Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And we are on the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. I was remembering back when Aaron Glenn was putting together his coaching staff, and Boomstradamus was sitting here going, I don't know. You take a look at Steve Wilks and all the places that he's been. I don't know. And then he was a 49ers defensive coordinator for 1 year, and they fired him with all those guys. I don't know about this one. Well, Steve Wilks does not make it through an entire season as Aaron Glenn fires him. I thought that was the best thing that Aaron Glenn's done all year, quite frankly, because this was a guy who was supposed to come in as a mentor and be sort of like an assistant head coach, and he was terrible with the scheme, and the defense was awful, and he said, see ya, this isn't good enough. Monday night game last night, Steelers offense took a while to get going, but when they did, they took off, got some touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers did what he had to do, and they still have a lead, that lead in first place of the AFC North. And we got an NBA Cup game tonight. Also, Boomer went to the Garden, and I'm assuming he's poopy pants Boomer this morning, so we're going to have to do something to get him back. I believe that there is some food coming a little bit later today, so that will help, but we have to lift the big boy's spirits. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. Good to talk to you this morning. And I'm not poopy pants because I'm used to going to the Garden and having the Rangers score one or less goals. It just doesn't matter. I mean, we're just such a mid-team. It's not even funny. And we lose to Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba as they came back. I went because I wanted to show my respect for the great Chris Kreider and what he has done here for the Rangers. And it was great to see him. It was great to see him skate around the ice and let everybody know how much he loves the fans here and how much the fans love him and how much we miss him. But be that as it may, it's just one of those really just, I mean, it wasn't a flat game. It was really, it was up and down game. It was a good defensive game. Igor had another great game. And then, of course, there's a late goal in the third period and they can't overcome it. And then there's an empty net goal and then the thing gets out of whack. So all I can tell you is that, at home, they stink. On the road, they're good. That's about it. I mean, and I don't know what Chris Drury's doing. I don't know what he's trying to do. I have no idea what the plan is moving forward. I kind of feel like a Met fan does. I'm not really sure what David Stearns has got cooking. He's got something cooking, and it feels like something big is coming. And most people that are around baseball think a huge trade is coming. So we have to wait and see what happens before we start screaming and yelling about what the team looks right now compared to what it may look in a week from now. It may be a huge trade. I feel like something big is really going to happen here, and it may involve Francisco Lindor. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. As far as Steve Wilks, that has to be one of the hardest things that a head coach has to do. One of the first hires that Aaron Glenn made was Steve Wilks for all the reasons that you talked about, being a mentor, being a former head coach, helping him settle in, get things organized, all of the things that, we never see that are really hard for a coach to do, especially one who's a novice like Aaron Glenn. And quite frankly, his track record, Steve Wilks' track record, is not very good, especially since 2017. And the only thing I will say is that performance on Sunday against the Jaguars, that was it. That was the final straw. And that's why I said when we came in here Monday morning, I don't expect him to be around here next year. And I'm sad for Steve Wilks. I'm sad for their friendship. I'm sad for that conversation that Aaron Glenn had with Steve Wilks because I know how difficult that is. But he's going to get paid. He's got a contract. I don't know how long his contract is. I would assume it's either 3 or 4 years. It's probably commensurate with how long Aaron Glenn's contract is. So, he's going to get paid. But nobody likes to get fired. Nobody wants to be the example. You don't want to see your face splashed all over the media that you were fired and you're one of the reasons why the Jets are so bad. But, I didn't see any energy in the team. I saw a very soft defense. I saw a defense that wasn't taking a lot of chances. And I saw a defense that this past weekend especially, it was more like 7-on-7 for Trevor Lawrence. And guys were backed off and guys were wide open. There were mistakes. And then when you have the comments like the Jets had after the game from players who say they don't show up. That is an indictment of the coaching staff. And that's the head coach first and foremost. But, the defensive coordinator, you got to have energy. So I don't know, Chris Harris, he's going to have an opportunity to do this now. I think Aaron Glenn's going to get involved with calling some of the defenses. But I just hope that Chris Harris walks into that meeting room tomorrow on Wednesday when he gets in there with his defensive players and brings some energy to the room. and brings expectations to the room. Even if you're, not an all-star player, you're still a player that's out there that's putting stuff on tape. So, I mean, it was. I'm glad they did it now, in a sense that they're not waiting this to the offseason, and maybe they'll have their pick of a new defensive coordinator next year, which is really important. But I'm not surprised by any of it.
No, especially with the way that they've played. But I am really happy that Aaron Glenn did this. I've been on Aaron Glenn. I still think this has been a really bad first year for him, but this showed me something more than anything else that he has done, because he's talked a lot about how he's evaluating everything, and this is, I have to evaluate myself and every player and every coach and this and that, and he made a big move in the beginning of the year when he ended up cutting Xavier Gibson, and people were like, oh man, accountability, and we really never saw any of it since then, and this right here shows that he's not messing around. It shows that it's not good enough, and nothing else matters other than turning this thing around.
Don't forget, he did bench Justin Fields before the mysterious knee injury. Don't forget that. He did.
Yeah, okay.
He was kind of forced into doing that. But, look.
But this was different to me.
They're turning around a battleship, Big. This is not easy. And
big ships turn slow, as he says.
That's exactly right. And this is not – it has not been easy for Aaron. They've had to trade some popular players. I think Darren Muji has done all the right things. Now comes the hard part, is figuring out who's coaching the team, like who's coaching the defense, who are they going to draft, are they going to trade up, are they going to be able to get a quarterback that they can build around? I mean, there's a million questions that are surrounding the team now, more so than when Aaron Glenn took the team. And now these questions have been answered each and every week. Now, the performance on the field last week was about as big a dud as you're going to have, and that's one of the reasons why I think they sacrificed Steve Wilks. But now comes the hard part. The final part of the season, get these guys to play, get them out of here 3 weeks from now, and then start rebuilding this franchise and hopefully doing what maybe the Patriots or the Giants or the Bears, are trying to do with their young quarterbacks. And that's where it all lies for the Jets right now, trying to get their hands on, I believe, Fernando Mendoza. But, and by the way, with the way that they looked on Sunday, they may end up with the worst record in football. You never know.
Well, it's the Raiders are going to be the ones it's going to be really tough to leapfrog, because
they could beat the Giants.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They could, but they are really bad, like really, really bad. And if you think about it, so there's a combined 5 wins this year between the two teams, right?
Yeah.
There are 4 fired coaches between the two teams, so there's only one more win than in-season fired coaches between these two teams. I mean, think about that. So you got Brian Daboll, obviously Shane Bowen, then you had Brian Cox, and now we have Steve Wilks. So you got 4 fired coaches in season with the Jets and Giants, 5 regular season wins. So let's see if we can get to the end of the year with more fired coaches and wins. It's still possible. You can fire somebody else on the way out. But it has been as bad as we've ever seen with these two teams combined. I mean, it's that bad because
we thought it was going to be better than this.
Well, not by much, but this is like as bad as it gets. I mean, think about it.
The 2 New York teams in the top 5 draft pick.
Well, yeah. I mean, so the year that I'm trying to think. So the year that the Giants had the 2 picks up there with Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau, where were the Jets in that particular draft? Because I think that I think the Jets and the Giants had 3 picks in the top 10 that year. So I want to say that was the 2022 draft or 2023 draft. But that was a bad one.
So this is they picked up the 5th-year options. This is Kayvon's 4th year, right?
Yes.
So if it's his 4th year, it was the 2021 draft?
That would be 22, 23, 24, 25. No, it would be the 22 draft.
Okay.
So the 22 draft, so here it is. So the Jets, so they had 3 picks in the top 10, the Jets and Giants. 5 Kayvon Thibodeau, 7 Evan Neal, and 10 Garrett Wilson. Well, actually, no, they had 4 picks. I'm sorry. 4 picks in the top 10. 4 Sauce Gardner, 5 Kayvon Thibodeau, 7 Evan Neal, and 10 Garrett Wilson. So that will not be topped.
And Sauce Gardner made All-Pro 2 years, so that was a pretty good pick for them. And then they ended up trading him away for 2 picks.
2 first
So
round
that
picks.
actually turned out to be a great situation for them.
Yeah.
Early on, it was good as a player, and later on, they got obviously a haul for him from Indianapolis.
Well, early returns.
And Garrett Wilson, the early returns are he's a number one receiver.
Yeah, I mean, they won both the rookie defensive and offensive players of the year.
Now, that was Joe Douglas.
Yes, but obviously, Sauce turning into 2 first-round picks is amazing at this point. But, yeah, so that year, 2022, was a huge draft for New York teams. And then this year is going to be, not quite as big because it's not as many picks, but we might have a number one overall pick.
Man, when you look back at that draft and you look at the wide receivers in the early part of that draft, so you had Darryl Stingley Jr., who was also taken, Aiden Hutchinson, Sauce, you got Thibodeau, let's see. You have Drake London from Atlanta. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Chris Olave, Jamison Williams. Mm-hmm. Holy God.
That's why you gotta pick wide receivers, right?
Treylon Burks, has been hurt a lot for Tennessee. Oh man, that was the year that Kenny Pickett was taken.
Yeah.
See that's what the Jets. It's not that Kenny Pickett's an NFL quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and disparage him. He is what he is. He's a backup quarterback now. We all know that. It didn't work out for him in Pittsburgh, and for whatever reason, it's some guys just don't ever grow. They just get stuck. That's what you don't want the Jets to have to do. Waste one of these top draft picks on a kid that you're not sure whether or not he can handle the NFL game. You know what I mean?
Well,
you got to make sure that.
I think every coach and GM, when they draft him, feels like they can.
Yeah, but to me, that was a reach by Pittsburgh.
Well, they knew the guy.
It was like Christian Hackenberg was a reach by the Jets.
Well,
that's the worst of the worst. But I'm just saying.
Well, that was a second-round pick.
Josh Rosen was a reach by the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Your guy, Christian Ponder, was a reach by Minnesota.
I mean, but we're all saying they're reaches when they were, terrible after the fact.
But those guys came, to me, I wouldn't say that Jackson Dart was a reach. There was probably some flags around Jackson Dart and his personality is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because the physical stuff is there. You can see it. I mean, I don't know what kind of guy he was at Ole Miss. I don't know if he was a crazy kid hanging out and running around all over the place. I don't know. Part of that I like. You know what I mean? Part of that, I like that part of his personality and his aggressive nature. But they went up and got him at 25, and Brian Daboll was convinced that he was going to be a really good NFL quarterback. And I think, for the most part, Jackson Dart has proven that his rookie year.
Yeah, so the one thing I'll say about Kenny Pickett, though, about it not being a reach was the fact that they knew the guy really well.
He was that Pitt.
He was right there. They shared the same facility. They loved him. They fell in love with him. They loved the story about it and everything else, and they were really excited about it. But, I know what you mean about just drafting a guy for the sake of drafting it, but
just don't do it. I know shots on goal at the quarterback position, is really important, and you're going to try to find that guy. And we believe the Giants have their guy, but I just don't want them to have to reach for somebody. You know what I mean?
But you're going to need a competent guy somehow.
They're going to need.
But here's the problem, though. It's also you might not be let's say you find a C-plus quarterback veteran to be your quarterback next year, and then you end up finding your way to 6 or 7 wins, and then it's like you're not going to have that high of a draft pick again. So these general managers are like, well, I got to take a shot now because I'm way up here. But then again, the Jets have multiple picks the next couple of years as well. So, they do have the draft capital to trade up.
So Arch Manning is going back to Texas. Yeah, that is official. We
all
knew that. We all knew that. And so he will, depending on how he grows and what he does next year, maybe he's at the top of the draft next year. Or maybe the Jets have another one of these draft picks that is higher. Because where are the Colts going to be? I have no idea where the Colts are going to be.
Well, at the end of this year, yeah. They may not win another game. They hung in there on the road against Seattle, so they're still a good football team. But they still, right now, do you have Tankathon there? Right now, the Colts.
Well, Phillip Rivers is starting Monday night against San Francisco at home. He is going to start for the Colts against San Francisco. They could run the ball right down the San Francisco 49ers' throat.
Yeah, so they've lost 4 in a row now, as we know. They're now 18th. So that pick is now 18th for the Jets. So the Jets, if the season ended today, would have the 5th and 18th first-round choices. So, and it's, they could very easily, lose a couple games and get around 12 or 13 or somewhere in there as well.
the Indianapolis Colts.
So if the season ends now with 3 games left to go, you look at the playoff seedings right now. So the 2 teams that are getting a bye in the AFC is going to be Denver. In the NFC, it's L.A. And then you got Houston at New England. You got Buffalo at the Jaguars. And you got the Chargers at the Steelers. So that means Bo Nix, C.J. Stroud, Drake May, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, and Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs in the AFC. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they're all first-round picks, too. So when people go, well, you never know about these guys, and you draft in the first round, so many guys are busts. Well, also every quarterback in the AFC was drafted in the first round.
All right, so over there, you got in the NFC, you got L.A. is number 1. Then you got Green Bay at the Bears.
So you got 2 number 1 overall picks, by the way, at quarterback right there out of those 3 teams.
Right, and obviously Jordan Love was first-round pick.
Right, first round, but 2 number 1 overall in Caleb Williams and Matthew Stafford.
And then this is where now you got the 49ers at the Eagles. So that's Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and a second-round pick.
So 2 guys, there's your other example.
Right. And then you got Sam Darnold versus Baker Mayfield, both first-rounders.
But wait, Baker Mayfield was the first. You have 3 number 1 overall picks in the playoffs right now in the NFC.
That's right. And if the Lions make it, you got another number 1 overall pick. And if the Panthers make it, you got another number 1 overall pick.
So, like, when people say, and I understand that there's a lot of busts, there are a lot of busts, but to act like it doesn't work out ever is wrong. I mean, we just went through it.
Yes.
I mean, it does work out a lot of the time.
Well, why are you yelling?
Because I get frustrated with the whole, oh, well, I mean, you have no idea. It's a total crapshoot. You have no clue what's going on. Right. It is. There's a lot of busts, and a lot of people, GMs, lose their jobs over making bad picks with quarterbacks. Joe Douglas, we know. But there's also it's like everybody forgets about the examples that work out and want to just focus on the ones that don't. I mean, and a lot of them worked out there. So
you just did like a Phil Simms.
I did.
You did.
There's no doubt about it. I got no argument against that. That's one of those things that gets me all riled up.
I didn't realize that would get you riled up.
I don't know.
You said you were getting older. You weren't getting nearly as riled up as you have been, when you were younger,
a fact.
In your 20s.
That's also a fact. But this particular argument is one that I've had with friends, and I think that it just came out right there. Everybody's like, oh, it doesn't matter where you draft. It doesn't matter where you draft. All right, we just rattled off 3 number 1 overall picks that are in the playoffs. And what? Out of how many teams? 14 teams? There's 12 first-round
C.J. Stroud was the number 2 pick.
Yeah. So, but out of
Drake May was the number 3 pick.
Yeah. So as out of 14 teams,
the number 7 pick is Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Got the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence.
Another one. Yeah. So that's
right.
4.
Justin Herbert was number 6, I think. Right.
Yeah.
And then you got Aaron Rodgers, who was like a first-round pick, but like later of 17 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So out of 14 teams, 12 of them don't have a quarterback who was drafted in the first round the playoffs, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 number 1 overall picks.
Right, and the other thing to remember is, like I said, the Lions have a number 1 overall pick in Jared Goff. So I mean, and Bryce Young's a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah,
by the Panthers, and they're on the knocking on the door
in the hunt.
Yes.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network just getting started. Jerry joins us in a couple of minutes. Got some weather for you right now, brought to you by the